Hi guys, new day, new vlog. Another travel vlog from Italy and another winery. As I mentioned before, it's kind of my hobby to visit wineries and wine tasting, and especially in Tuscany with this kind of beautiful views. And today we're in Castello di Verrazzano. It's an old castle from 12th century, so it's almost 900 years old. And it's a huge winery. They produce around 250,000 bottles per year. And in this video, we're going to have a complete tour. We'll go to the cellars to see all these barrels with the wine. And then after that, we'll go to do the wine tasting. And the special thing about this place is the castle itself and the views. Unbelievable. I love Italy, I love Tuscany. So let's go and let's experience it together. Andiamo.
I'm Sara, I'm your tour guide, and we are going to explore the history of the castle of Giovanni da Verrazzano. How do we age our wines? We're missing your husband, right?
Yeah, but it's okay. He's like 2 minutes and he's here.
Okay.
Because he just went to the toilet.
All right, but we're climbing. Nice to meet you again. I'm Sara, and we are where the Verrazzano family used to live and where Giovanni da Verrazzano was born. I'm going to give you some specific dates so that everybody can understand which time we are talking about. So first of all, the tower is from the 10th century, while the villa round is from the 17th century. And in the 7th centuries that the Verrazzano family came here to live. They had origins coming from the north of Italy. They were Longobards. And in 1485, Giovanni was born here at the castle. But who was Giovanni? Giovanni was a naval navigator and trader, and his will was to explore, to travel as much as he could, and to reach Asia, because Asia was one of the richest countries that other countries wanted to conquer, to obtain. But Italy at those times was poor, both politically and economically, because it was divided into more republics. It didn't exist a unique state yet, strong enough to finance this trip to reach Asia, Giovanni. So he left under France, under the King of France, Francisco I, because at the same period of time, he was looking for a new way to reach Asia as well, since he wanted to challenge both Spain and Portugal, because they were the two countries to have more power, more control on explorations. So he left from Normandy, the north of France, together with his brother Girolamo, who was a cartographer instead. And while they were traveling, in 1524, Giovanni discovered what we know today as the Bay of New York, as well as a great part of the east coast of the States. So we have a great connection. And then he came back to Italy and left again 4 years later, so 1528. But this time wasn't his lucky time, because he got in Bahamas and unfortunately he found a tribe of cannibals. So he sadly died. But at least he left us a wonderful discovery. Have you ever been to New York before?
Yes.
Alright, so probably you remember the Verrazzano Narrows Bridge. Verrazzano Narrows Bridge was built in honor of Giovanni, and it is, let's say, quite close to the Brooklyn Bridge. So it separates Staten Island from Brooklyn. And it's a huge, very huge bridge. And it is also the main point from which every year the Marathon of New York starts. And so after the death of Giovanni, the last member of the Verrazzano family then died in 1819. After them, other families then bought the property. The previous one, I'm talking about 100 years ago now, was the Ridolfi family, and Mr. Ridolfi was the founder of Frogs. Frogs, they're frogs. They're taking joke of me. So, Mr. Ridolfi was the founder of Fiorentina football team, the football team of Florence. Fiorentina was born here, inside of the castle, inside of this garden. So we're not only history and culture, there is also some sport. And now the current owner is the Cappellini family, and today we are a farm. This means that we don't only make wine, but also olive oil, the balsamic, white vinegar, honey, for example. And the daughter of Mr. Luigi, Maria Sole, she's the beekeeper, so she personally takes care about the honey's production. While the nonna, so the mother of Mr. Luigi, Mrs. Clara, she used to live inside of the villa till some years ago, but now she's 102 years old. So she came back to Florence, but she has always represented the heart of this place. For this reason, some wines have been dedicated to her, and also we're not a restaurant. By the way, we serve hot dishes, cold dishes, and the recipes that we still have today were made by her. So she's still alive, and she doesn't want anything to be changed, just to maintain the tradition of this place, a traditional environment, which is very important. And we produce around 230,000 buckets per year. We export our wines a lot, especially, mostly worldwide, but especially to the US, Brazil, Portugal, but we are increasing and improving year after year. And this part here of the vineyards is called Vigna dei Rosi, and it is just a small part of the whole. And probably you notice a little river at the very beginning of the street, the only street we have to get here. And that river is called Greve. And we have to imagine the shape of the vineyards like this, like a pyramid, like this, in which at the lowest part, so the part closer to the Greve River, we will find cooler climates, as well as the ground will be more humid. And this allows us, first of all, to have a greater production, because the plant produces more grapes, but also our easier and lighter wines, like, for example, our white wines and our rosé. While we go up till the top of the field, we find instead a better exposition to both sun and wind. And this instead allows us to have different kinds of wines, more complex wines. For example, we get our Chianti Classico and Chianti Classico Riserva from the central part, while from the top, our two great selections, Grande Selezione Castello and Grande Selezione Valmonica. So different position means different results. And actually, it seems like not to be real. By the way, whenever the plant finds a very rocky and hard soil to grow in, actually it's the place in which it gives all the best, all its best, because it's like it has to put much effort in finding water. So that's why we get our great selection from the driest point of the vineyards. And we are also in the middle between Florence, which is on the left, and Siena on the right. And back in the 13th century, there were enemies. They fought to obtain this land here in the middle. So it's full of castles with high towers. And the tallest was the tower, the more people could see who was coming to fight, to attack. So people were able to protect themselves. For example, that castle over there is called Vicchio Maggio. Now is another winery, but back in time we were rivals. We used to fight, and I have to say that our tower is 80 centimeters higher than theirs. That's why a point in our favor. I'm just kidding. By the way, if you have the chance to go there, do it, because from here it looks like a medieval town. Instead, it's very big winery, so it's very, very beautiful. And here in this terrace we make tastings, aperitivo, especially during summer. with good weather, and because with this view, everything is fabulous. By the way, unfortunately, we don't take big celebrations, weddings, because from internal decisions, we decided to maintain a quiet and calm environment. But even though, yeah, the place would be wonderful, perfect, yeah, yeah. And now we are moving inside to see our Vinsantaia, so where our Vinsanto ages. Have you ever tasted Vinsanto before? All right, you never. All right, so Vinsanto is a sweet wine, but also called dessert wine that we get from two grapes, local grapes and white grapes. And it is a wine that we usually drink together some almond biscuits that we call cantucci. So it's a very typical dessert of this area. You can find it all around Tuscany in all the menus as desserts. So usually we find it together, both Vinsanto and Cantucci. So it's similar to Porto. If you know Porto as a liquor, as a wine, is similar. So it has these notes that remind of caramel, honey, dry fruit, so sweet and Trebbiano. And if we have a look at this picture, this is the perfect representation of what happens inside of this room. So we basically take the grapes, put them in these wooden sticks that we call penzoli, and we leave them hanging for 3 months. In this period of time, the level of water evaporates, but the concentration of sugar gets higher, and so does the concentration of alcohol. That's why then we get a wine between 16 to 18% of alcohol. Once the 3 months are gone, we press the grape, and the juice goes aging in the chestnut barrels that we call caratelli. We leave it here for 3 years to get Vinsanto Base, which is the most popular one, the one you can find all around Tuscany and Italy as well, which will look like this, so this amber color. 6 years instead to get our Vinsanto Riserva, so it takes a very long time. So we produce just a little amount of Vinsanto, just 4,000 bottles, and it will be also more expensive. And so, as I was saying before, notes that remind of caramel, honey, dry fruit, so sweet. This map instead shows us all of our properties. So you came by the right side, and now we are central. Many houses and many forests also, full of wild boars. We are surrounded by wild boars everywhere. And we have to be careful because they are dangerous, they are aggressive, they destroy the vineyards. So we have to control their numbers. How? We hunt them, and we make a good wild boar ragu. And this is to tell you a curiosity that the name Verrazzano has a Latin origin, and it is composed by 2 words, verres, which means the male of the wild boar, and zona, which means area, land. So land on wild boar. Even the name is related to our terroir, our fields. But now we're going to see our cellars and how instead we age our red wine. So we're going into the deep of the visit today. So we're going downstairs now. Chestnut, while the previous ones were in French oak wood. We use French oak wood for aging our Chianti Classico. Instead, these barrels here, so chestnut, they're actually empty now because we used them to age our Chianti Classico back in time. But we then realized that this kind of wood gave too many aggressive tannins for that wine. So now we use the chestnut barrels for our great selection, Valdonica, which is a more complex wine. So this is the right wood for it. They were built inside of here. Look at the sides of the doors. We can tell it looking at them. So now they're just for exposition, and they are part of our history of production. We make wine since 1150, so not really yesterday. So they're also very beautiful to watch. They're also really old, around 40, 50 years old. Yeah. And also, I would like to show you this label that says, "Be silent, the wine is resting," which is funny, but also true, because during high season, we have around 200, 300 people per day. And the vibrations caused by the voice, the steps, can damage the wine inside or bother the wine inside of the barrel. So it's always recommended to talk lowly for this reason, to have a low voice, which is important because the wine is alive, the wine breathes, the wine is very sensible to everything around him. So we have to be careful and take care of it. All right, so watch this step in here. That we use for Chianti Classico aging. As we can see, they have many details. You can come inside. So the number, just to distinguish them one to another, the capacity, so 2,500 liters, this one here, and also this is the symbol of the Verrazzano family. Now we say also a French symbol, this little one here, because Giovanni left from France. Also, we have to place these blackboards that go to specify what each barrel contains inside. This one says, for example, organic red wine, so it's important for us to say that we make organic wine, so without using pesticides or chemical substances. Atto a divenire Chianti Classico di OCG means that probably one day it will be Chianti Classico, but we don't know it yet. There will be like a sort of judges who will decide if this wine is proper to take the denomination. TOCG stands for the denomination, certification of the wine, or not. And San Bartolo is the name that we gave to that part of the vineyards from which we took the grapes and now are contained inside of here. What we see at the top, so these glasses, wine glasses, they are called colmatori, and they are an invention from Leonardo da Vinci. They are fundamental, essential for the conservation of wine, because we go to fill them with a little amount of water, and the water doesn't allow the CO2 from outside to enter inside of the barrel and to oxidate the wine. But at the same time, it lets the gas that the wine produces to go out. So somehow it makes the wine breathe. Otherwise, it would be vinegar, it wouldn't be drinkable. So we still thank the great Leonardo for another wonderful invention. Yeah. While the Riserva ages in smaller barrels like those ones behind you, and later you're going to feel that it's a more complex wine in flavor because it ages for a longer time. It ages 2 years in there, and the smaller the barrel is, actually the more the wood goes to release its features, its aromas. So, and it's a wine very rich in flavor, with these notes that remind of vanilla, tobacco, spices. So a little bit different from Chianti Classico. Now we're moving in the next room. So we are in the room 62, and it takes the name from the year of birth of Mr. Luigi Cappellini, 1962. And all these bottles I have here behind me, they are actually a gift given to him when he was born. So a very nice present, isn't it? If they're wondering if they're still good, still drinkable, they're not anymore. Probably you're able to smell vinegar. I cannot anymore, I'm too used to it. By the way, if you smell it, because, yeah, of course, they're not good anymore, not drinkable anymore. On the table, some of the wines we're going to taste today. So we will start with our rosé, then Chianti Classico, Riserva, bottiglia particolare. Chianti Classico e Chianti Classico Riserva, they are the OCG, the denomination. And to take it, we have to follow very strict rules. That first of all say that we have to use minimum 80% of Sangiovese. Sangiovese is the main grape for Chianti Classico. While we decided to make it better, so to change it in better, so we use 100% of it, so pure Sangiovese. And also another rule is that we can only produce Chianti Classico in a specific area, which is exactly this one here. And we are here. And then, la bottiglia particolare is one of our Super Tuscans, so it's different from our standard of production, because this wine is a blend between Sangiovese and Cabernet Sauvignon, so it's very silky, very round, very smooth in the mouth. You're going to feel it later. And to celebrate its features, above all the silkiness of this wine, we decided to use a real silk label for each bottle. So this is real silk. And how the ground changes in the different positions of the vineyards. So starting from the bottom, as we can see, a very dark color, very humid. And then at the top, we have instead a very dry and rocky soil. From which we produce our grape selection. Castello, for example, that takes the name from this little bird that particularly likes our grapes, so it goes to eat them, and we decided to give its name to the wine. Do you have any questions? Not for the moment. Yes, please.
Just very soon. How
Yes.
much does a bottle like that cost?
This is 49.
Okay.
49. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
What was the name of the grape for Chianti Classico?
Sangiovese.
Sangiovese.
Sangiovese. It's essential. So the duster a bottle is, the more well preserved and conserved the wine inside will be. And we also use these cellars to check the quality of wine. I mean, how long a wine can last in the years during the time. Yeah. So yeah, feel free to take pictures, videos. This is one of the most beautiful berries that we have in our cellars. This was made 2 years ago for the celebration of the 500 years from the discovery of New York, so 1524, 2024. And again, all these barrels are used for Chianti Classico, while the Riserva and smaller barrels. How do we feel them? Together with these two. So we have a fermentation room underground that from which we take the wine, and together with that tube we put it here and we fill the barrels. We can smell wine inside more than the other cellars, and because our wine makers, our enologists are always here to check the level of water in the colmatori because it can evaporate, but also to clean the barrels. So wine is on the floor always, so that's why it smells very good. And our winemakers or enologists when they clean the barrels, they do it now from outside, because I'll tell you, till some years ago, people used to clean the barrels from inside. But since many people have died, now it's illegal because there's no oxygen inside, so it's very dangerous. Till some years ago, there was a specific way to enter inside of the barrel. So before a arm, then the head, and the other arm, and then the whole body. But once they were inside, it was really dangerous. So if you now hear something like this, just to let you know that it's not true, it's not possible, it cannot happen. So it's illegal. So now we clean the barrels from outside. So that's why it smells very good. To give value again to our terroir, our land, our fields. So this is chestnut coming from our forests, so local. And we age here our great selection Baldonia. These are barriques of 225 liters, while those ones over there, the big ones, are 500 liters, so just a little bit more. And they're also new, they're new barrique. Alright, yeah. I can already smell it. It's inside of here. From right to left with our rosé. You're going to have a 2024 rosé, and if you have a look at this color, you will see that it has a golden pink color. Pure Sangiovese, so same grape as Chianti Classico and Chianti Classico Riserva, and this wine is very fresh, very aromatic, with these notes that remind of rich white flowers like jasmine or elder flowers also. So a fresh bouquet. Very pleasant, easy, and light drink because it's 12% alcohol, and this is also an aperitivo wine, so before dinner. You can enjoy also alone, so without food, because it's very easy to drink and wonderful with light dishes. For example, both meat and fish tartare, cereal soup, fish soup, vegetables. So all of those dishes which are not too greasy and fat in the mouth. Second glass is our Chianti Classico from 2023. The color is a ruby red color, pure Sangiovese again, and this is the wine that ages 18 months inside of the big barrels in French oak wood, plus 4 months inside of the bottle. So the aromas that this wine reminds of will be red fruits, black fruits like blackberries, blueberries, raspberries, ribes also, and cherry. Cherry is persistent. 14% of alcohol, so we go a little bit higher. And this is amazing with savory dishes like barbecue, steak, cold cuts, seasoned cheese, because it goes to clean and refresh the mouth from the music of the meal. Third glass instead is our Riesling from 2022. The color is pretty the same, but this is a more complex wine in flavor, because as I said to you before, it ages for 2 years in smaller barrels. So the aromas this wine has will be vanilla, tobacco, black pepper, spices, red fruits, and light oils. 14.5% of alcohol, so just a little bit more. Same for Chianti Classico, amazingly fast and easy dishes just with the sequence. guest instead is our bottiglia particolare from 2020. This is our Super Tuscan, a blend between 60% of Sangiovese and 40% of Cabernet Sauvignon. And here the Cabernet Sauvignon goes to give this smoky side of tobacco, vanilla, while the Sangiovese on the side of grapefruits that this time are more mature. 13.5% alcohol, so same as Reserva, and this is also what we call meditation wine, since it doesn't require any food to be paired with, so you can easily enjoy it alone the way it is. If you already have our olive oil on bread, and in a couple of minutes, even with the sun is coming with pecorino cheese. So I wish you a wonderful taste and enjoy your time here at the castle with this amazing view, and I will enjoy the wine. And
Thank you.
all right. So thank you for your attention and cheers to you.
Thank you, grazie.
Thank you very much.
Okay, guys, that was the tour and the wine tasting. I enjoyed the experience, and honestly, if you're in this area in Tuscany, it's a must-visit place, considering the views, the location, and the history of this place. You listened it before, the woman that she was explaining the history, and it's just unbelievable. So thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you in my next video.